Okay folks, so we're going to start our next video tutorial. This video tutorial is about exploding this whole part. So our last video was about assembling and putting all these parts together, and our next video will be about creating a drawing for the PDF of this part. However, we will also have to include an exploded view. So let's go and look how we're going to explode this part. I'm not going to go through the entire process because it's very repetitive, but I will go through a number of them. So the first thing you do when you're creating an exploded view is go up to your view orientation and select it to be in a isometric view. Okay, that will be the view that you'll be using in the actual thing itself. I'm just going to take off real view graphics so we might see a clearer picture. And I'm also going to set plane my background so it gives it a bit of clarity in the video. Okay, so we have a number of different parts here. We can see we have all the different parts over here on the left hand side in the feature manager tree, and we're going to take these parts and explode them out and see what they look like. So generally the way I would work this is I would generally try and explode one plane first. So there's three axes of revolution, or three directions. That's why it's called 3D. There's X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to probably try and explode in the y-axis first. That means I'm going to try and explode everything up, and then I'm going to explode everything out or back. So let's just have a look at that first. Okay, so I'm going to go to the assembly toolbar and in the assembly tab in the command manager. I'm going to go over here to the right hand side and I'm going to select exploded view. There's a little arrow below exploded view, and it's pretty much the exact same. So it doesn't really matter which one you do, but I'm just going to click on the big button. Okay, now we can see down here on our explode manager tree, we can see we have exploded steps. We can add a step, we can add a number of radial steps. We can then, it gives you opportunity to rename that step, which if you're doing a very large assembly is very useful for backtracking and changing things up. We then have the direction in which we're going to explode. We then have the distance of that explosion. Then we have an opportunity to rotate around the axis, and then we have an opportunity to rotate an angle. So again, these ones here, we're not going to worry too much about. Mostly everything we can do in the first number there, okay? So I'm going to start by clicking on the part I want to explode. Now you can see it is turned blue, so that we know that that's the part. If it wasn't the right part, we can just simply go over here, right click and clear selections. Okay, but that is the right part. I now need to pick an angle or a direction of explosion. So I'm going to click on Y. You can see the small Y. It's kind of hidden up here, but Y. Okay. Now, it's giving me a distance of 10 to start with. So I'm going to try that, and I'm going to move it up to 60. Okay, and I'm going to add the step. Okay, and what has happened is it has moved it straight up here. Okay, because this is the positive direction. So it's moved it straight up. Now, I didn't really want it to go straight up, so I'm just going to go in there and double click on exploded step 1. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on reverse direction. So it's going to be moving it down by 60. Now 60 wasn't enough for me. I want to move it right down to the bottom. Okay, I'm going to click on the green tick, and then it's going to be that. Okay, so that's my first exploded step. Okay, now by clicking on the green tick, I've now exited the exploded step. Okay, so I want to find that again. So I can go to configuration manager. Okay, and I can click on the wee arrow below default, and there's exploded view 1. So if I right click on that, I can come in there and I can edit the feature. So I can get back into it if I click the green tick, because we're so used to clicking on the green tick. That's a way of getting back into it. Okay, so exploded step number 2 would be to pick a number of these parts and move them straight up. Okay, or pick a number of these parts and move them straight down. I might go with the straight down because it looks a wee bit easier. So I'm going to click on that part, the hopper itself. I think that's it. I want to move that in the Y direction. Okay, so Y, and I'm going to move it slightly. The last one was 240, so I want it to be offset from that. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try add step. Again, it was in the wrong direction, so I need to come back in there and flip direction. So that is pretty much that. It's a little bit too close down there for me, so I'm just going to. You want to try and not have too many interferences. So now you can see that that's completely clear, so I'm happy enough with that. Again, I don't have to click on green tick. I can just say done, and that'll allow me to put in a third step. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to explode this clear housing. Okay, I'm going to go in the Y direction, and I'm going to go 110. So the last time 110 is okay, but it's not great. So I'm going to come back up to about 180, and then I'm going to click on done. Okay, so now we're starting to see the guts of this part here now. Okay, so I'm going to probably move this entire thing up a little bit. So I want to click on the housing, the bush, rotate around, click on the bush, the shaft, the rubber guide, and the handle. I'm going to move everything up a little bit. Yeah, sorry. What did I not do there? I didn't click on the direction. So the Y direction, and try 110. And always handy to go back to the isometric to see what you're seeing. Okay, so yep, we're getting good there. That's now cleared. This is now cleared, so we can go move on. So if we go up here, I'm just going to go back into step 3, my clear canopy. I'm just going to move it up a little bit so that I can see it's not interfering here. Okay, now the next thing now is I'm going to take the handle and the shaft and the bushes. I'm going to move them out this way. So I'm going to go back. I go back in and edit feature. I've stepped out by mistake. I'm going to click on the bush, the shaft, the cone, the inside bush, and the handle. I'm going to move it this time in the X direction. I'm going to move it in the X direction. I don't need to go that far out of 240. We'll try 170, and yet it's not enough. Try that. I'll go back in here, edit that, change it up to maybe a wee bigger than 102. There, 250, because I can see that that's not going to interfere. I click on done, and now I want to start pulling these things out. So if I start with, say, the shaft, the rubber cone, the other bush, and the handle, let's bring them all out in the X direction, and let's go, say, 200 and see what that does. Okay, now, so that'll allow me to kind of bring that shaft back. I had done 200, so let's go 120, and let's reverse the direction and add the step. So that's bringing that back to that. If I was to go back in, I would probably take it back to 100. So you can see here, it's not an exact science. It's literally just trying to, work it out one step at a time and see what would work and what wouldn't work. Okay, so that now looks like it's right. Now the next thing here will be to take this cone here, maybe move it in the Z direction. I can pull it. I don't need to go too far. I just need to pull it a little bit in, like so, which allows me to see whatever that's going on. And then the handle will be the last one. We're going the X direction, and we're going to try and do it maybe 70. Add the step. Perfect. Okay. So there's the different components there as we see them. The last thing to do is this is just interfering here a little bit. So I'm going to bring this cup up. I'm going to move it up by maybe 30. Try that. Perfect. And then this here shaft and this here part here. Okay, move that in the Y direction. Again, I want to try and move it by 20. Be lovely. So done. Okay, so without further ado, I'd say we're nearly finished. All we need to do is take these two shafts and we're going to put them in the Z direction. We're going to move them by about 20 mil. I prefer to have it in the other direction, so go reverse direction, and we might just change it to maybe 40 or 50. Put them out there in space. Perfect. So done, and that's me. I'm happy with the exploded view. Click on the green tick. So that is pretty much that. Now we can start to see all the different parts. Okay, and again, it doesn't have to look like this, guys. It can look like any way you've done, or any way you think it looks better than that. And all we're really doing here is looking to see, can you use the exploded views option. So it's not looking at how good this exploded view is. It's not looking at is every component exploded. It's just looking to see, can you explode an assembly. So just have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 parts, whatever you need fit to explode, and that'll be it. Okay, so let's go back over here to the feature manager tree, and here is our assemble coffee grinder assembly. So we're going to right click on that, we're going to come down and we're going to click on collapse. That brings it in. So I can flick between the configuration of collapsed or exploded. Okay. Another really neat feature is I can come over here, right click on assembly, and I can come down and I can animate the collapse. So if you wanted to make a little video of it all coming together, how it goes together, we can change that it's playing at half speed. Okay, so it'll show you what the crack is. Okay, as you put like a lot of thought into each of the components coming in individually, you could have a really kind of cool video. Okay, so that's pretty much that. Again, that's how to do an explode, how to explode individual components, pretty much around more than one axis. So we use the Y and X and Z axis there. Actually, we used all three. How to create sub explosion assemblies. So we clicked on 3 different parts down here for the coffee grinder and the pins. Then how to edit the configuration. So if you click on the green tick, where do you find it? You find it over here in the configuration manager, below default, and then exploded view. Right click and edit feature. That allows in there. And then the other thing we looked at was how to collapse it and explode it from the feature manager tree. And also the last thing there was how to animate the explosion or the collapse. So that's pretty much that. Okay, so that was just a little video talking about how to create an explosion, an exploded view of the assembled parts. In our next video, we're going to look at how to create a drawing of those parts, now including putting in an exploded view. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and we'll see you all again in the next video.